What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today is the 22nd of May, 2023. It's about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Crypto. Once again, I am your host, Bitcoin J from Bitcoin Daily, and I'm here with the Bitcoin Queen. How you doing, Bitcoin Queen?
Pretty good. BTC week is over.
Yep.
I can relax. We had a great time. If you guys caught the Jay's talk, if you were in Miami for the KuCoin conference, you saw his analysis, which was spectacular. But overall, we're pretty good.
Yeah, definitely had a great time there. Once again, thank you for putting that event together. I know you put a lot of time and work into that. I met a few people that are subscribed and are followers of the channel. So I was able to
Amazing.
I was able to chop it up with them over there. A really good time. So definitely thank you for putting it together, and thank you guys for those who came out there as well and supported. Definitely a great experience. But today it's a new week, right? It is a new week. We're getting towards the end of the month of May. There's no real big catalyst for the rest of the month coming up. The last few months we've had a lot of catalysts along the way. We had, from inflation data to we had the banks failing and all that. So we had a lot of stuff. We actually this month in particular, there hasn't really been too much going on. We did get like the CPI reports, but it wasn't much change in the CPI report. We got the rate interest hikes, which we expected. It came out exactly as expected. So not much change, and we're in a very, very tight range. One of the tightest range we've been in Bitcoin since January of this year. So we'll go a little bit more into detail on that during today's market analysis, so we can talk about what that means for Bitcoin. What happened last time that we saw some similar ranges like this that was this tight? So let's go ahead and jump into today's price update. Let's take a look at the prices here. As you can see, currently we're sitting at about $26,800, just below 27,000. We were at 27,000 probably about an hour ago. But you already know, usually once we go live, once we start streaming, prices go up. So let's see what happens with the price there today while we're doing the live stream.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, right. And as you guys can see, this is a daily time frame. So basically since, let's see, the 11th, I would say, pretty much the 11th, we've been just below 28,000 and pretty much above 26,000. So we've been in that small range. We had one day on the 12th that we went way lower. We broke into $25,000, and then we pushed right back up, and then we just kind of been ranging here ever since. And not much has happened really. And pretty much if you look at anything else, it looks exactly the same. This is Ethereum. Ethereum looks exactly the same. Looking at Solana looks similar but with more exaggerated moves. And you kind of see that across as well if you just continue to look at different coins here. Not Tesla, it's not crypto. But if we go ahead and take a look at the top coins here, see what they've been doing the last 7 days or so. You can see Bitcoin is down about 2.5%. Ethereum down about 1.5%. Binance down almost 2%. We do see XRP here is up about 7%, and that's because last week they actually, the judge in the case versus the SEC ruled in their favor on releasing, I think the SEC was trying to seal some sort of documents or records or speech or something, and the judge ruled against them and in the favor of XRP. So that's why XRP pumped a little bit last week in the last 7 days. And then the other one that's kind of moved here, we can see Tron here. I'm not sure exactly why Tron is up 12% in the last week. But the one I was gonna point out was Litecoin up 3%. We did retrace a bit, but it's actually moved pretty well in the last week or so. If you put it against Coinbase, right? Coinbase is down about 3%, Litecoin's up 3%. And that has a lot to do with the upcoming halving event. Remember, that's in August. So we're about 3 months out from the Litecoin halving event. If you guys want to know more, you want more in-depth details on that, on what that means for Litecoin and what that can mean for its price, I did a full video breaking it down. And I also did a Twitter thread. So if you rather read it, you can check it out on Twitter. If you rather watch it, you can check it out on YouTube. I give you guys both options. And if we go here to the top crypto gainers and losers in the last 24 hours, we can see Neo is at the #1 spot, up 6.5%. And that's pretty much. Conflux is up about the same thing, 6.3%. Tron up 4.5%. And I mean, nothing too crazy. Nothing really stands out. If we look at the losers, the biggest losers is Pepe, down 6.5%. Again, that doesn't really stand out. There's nothing here that stands out in the top 100 coins. So again, not too much going on. It's been kind of a boring week. Which is better than having a down week, right? So if we look at the economic calendar, what's going on this week? What are we looking for this week? There's really only one main thing that we're really keeping an eye on this week, which is the FOMC minutes. So that's going to be at 2 p.m. on the 24th of May on Wednesday. So basically, they released their notes basically for their previous meeting, detailing what was discussed and their outlook and all of that. So that's going to give the market a little bit more of a hint on which way they are leaning as far as for the very next what is it, it's down here, the interest rate decision. So that doesn't happen till next month, but this might give some insight onto what we can expect. Oh my God, I can't speak English today. What we can expect. There we go. I said it, guys.
We gotta go back to doing this show in Spanish.
I know, right? I did it, guys. All right. So right now the market is expecting a pause. You can see there's a 68% chance of a pause. Once they do that interest rate decision. So they're expecting a pause, but they're not. The market's not sure right now. So it's 68% pause, but there's 31% chance that there might be another 25 basis points hike. So they're still trying to figure it out, right? This number was up above 90% just a week or so ago, and it's already been dropping every day a little bit. So we're currently sitting at 68%. Maybe the FOMC minutes will give us a clearer picture on what we might expect here. So that's pretty much what the biggest thing we'll be looking at. If it's looking like a pause for next month, then the market is probably going to try to begin pricing it in, because that's what the market likes to do. They like to try to front run the moves, and the market likes to always be correct on those moves as well. So I think I pretty much covered the main things here as for prices on what's going on with Bitcoin, altcoins, just the general overall of the market, and what's coming up in the economic calendar. Now we're gonna pass it over to the Bitcoin Queen so she can cover some of the news that's been going on in the past week.
So, you mentioned XRP earlier, and the thing that I think is crazy about everything that they've been going through is that they recently announced that they have spent $200 million protecting themselves against the SEC, and I think that's insane. That is an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
Okay, for court fees and lawyers and all that, it's I think it's wild. I just had to put that out there.
But it's definitely worth their while, I think, right?
It's insane. It's insane. Hopefully this gets over with soon, because I just don't know how much money does a corporation reasonably have to be fighting against a government entity, especially if it's costing them that much, crazy. Anywho, So let's talk about Biden, who has been in the headline of the news. We'll talk about politics a little bit first. So pretty much President Biden recently had said that he will not come to a deal helping wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders while people are on food stamps. Pretty much was what he said. So there's a bipartisan deal going through the House right now, and basically it's to raise the debt ceiling. So as many of us know, I think the ceiling will be at its top, or needs to be raised as soon as June. In technicality, the original hypothesis was for July, but it looks like we might be hitting that ceiling a little sooner than we thought we were. Basically, what that means is that the Fed, or not the Fed, but the government will run out of money. And we need to come up with more, aka we got to print some more for spending. It's really hard to come up with money if it's not printed within these government entities, because there's obviously not as much inflow or money being collected from taxes and things of that nature, which is another reason why they allocated, I think it was $10 billion for the IRS to use over the next 10 years to help attract or make sure more money has been settled and collected from citizens from taxation. So pretty much Biden's like, hey, I'm not giving any of these people tax cuts. But, ironically, these are the same things that exist for stockholders. This is nothing that's new. So for him to be, saying that he's not negotiating on the idea of, this is all around the proposal of him saying, 30% tax on Bitcoin mining, or raising the tax for people who like do things with crypto and all that kind of stuff. I don't think a lot of people realize that a lot of this funny money is like here today and gone tomorrow. And a lot of stuff is also unrealized gains. The people who actually have made money within this industry either A, get paid in like crypto and stable coins and they're already reporting it, or B, they're playing around with meme coins that might go to zero and before they even get any profit. Or if they have things like NFTs, which, there's only a handful of them that have done very well, they're holding on to them and they're not worth anything until they sell them. So it's like a very weird like stigma that's been taking like amongst these crypto bros. Like there's a lot of bros that like to, show off and like claim they have all these money. And a lot of it's let's even talk about the influencers. The influencers who dump on their communities sometimes, and or take payment up front apart from, from companies, apart from, what they're pushing. Like it's not even crypto sometimes that they're accepting. It's a lot of time cash payments that they do in fact have to fill out taxes for. So it's like a very weird stigma that's happening right now in the White House, like thinking that crypto people are rich. Like, no, we're just as rich as like anybody else. AI is going to take over all of the crypto hype very, very soon. It's already started doing it. That's why investment in crypto is way down. We're down 92% for investment for new projects. That in itself should speak. So I don't know. I think this guy's kind of a little insane. People who have actually made money off this they're probably like early Bitcoiners, early Ethereum, early Solana, people who got in at a reasonable time for projects, and just a lot of this stuff is unrealized gains. There is honestly far and few crypto traders who actually trade. Most of the crypto traders that I've met work for hedge funds and family offices, trading other people's money, which is all KYC and all like tax. It's kind of insane. There's very few people who even use some of these like loopholes that are being claimed to exist, but not great. And it also doesn't help because the SEC says that they are in no rush to make any regulatory claims against crypto, and it might take years. However, they're suing people left and right. So you're on one end, it's like there's a disillusionment between how much money these people are making. On the other end, the SEC is like, hey, we're not going to provide any clarity for a long time because we are in no rush to do so, but we're going to sue people out of their mind. Really weird stuff that's happening. It's definitely slowed down. However, I will agree that it's slowed down. Because like, the past month has been people just getting hit left and right with this stuff. Now it just looks like we're in disagreements with where things fall, but we'll see what happens there. Any thoughts, Jay?
It makes zero sense whatsoever, because I don't understand. Like, they're going around suing people, suing companies for whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, but we're not putting out any clarity. We're just gonna keep suing companies and suing people, but we're not making anything clear. So we're just gonna make it. They're trying to make it as difficult as possible for crypto right now at this point, and they're gonna continue going. They're gonna continue going after exchanges, after companies, after whatever, and without putting any regulations, or without just any clarity whatsoever on what they're going after exchanges and people for. So it makes zero sense to me right now at this point. And like you said, they said that they're in no hurry. So it's almost like they're laughing about it, right? That they're laughing about the matter. They're like, yeah, we're going to continue to go after you guys, and we're not going to tell you what we're looking for, what we're not looking for. We're just going to continue attacking crypto. So it's very frustrating.
Pretty much.
It's very frustrating. It's definitely pushing companies out of the U.S. And it's frustrating. I mean, what am I gonna say? Like, if you look at the case against XRP, that we just talked about, they're trying to seal documents that are not in there, that have to do with the case, because it doesn't help their favor, right? It's not in their favor. It doesn't help their case. So they're going around trying to seal documents so that XRP can't use it against them, because they know if those documents are used in the case, the SEC is gonna lose. So things like that. And now that the judge ruled against them, now they're just appealing it. So now it's gonna take, they're just gonna continue to extend it. They're going to try to
milk it out. Yeah, it's really not great. It's funny because I think, I don't know I guess the SEC pushed out the stuff against Algorand, but people are now starting to question Gensler, like, why were you seen as an MIT professor prior to taking your, being a chairman of the SEC, promoting this thing that you're going after? It's like, sir, it's like people in within office and within government are starting to realize these things that are not making any sense. And I think very, very soon, maybe there is some restructuring that happens, because it's just like, it's very corrupt what's happening. It's very clear what's happening. It's not great. And, I get it. Like, the US dollar is weakening and it's not in a good spot. Between BRICS and all the in between, it's not great. And I understand that, but at the same time, you're hurting people. There's people out here who, you're damaging them in one way or another, whether it's they put their life's work into this thing and now they want to, raise money for it and they can't, or, people who did stuff like Tornado Cash and, things just went to zero. It just, no sense is made. But on the right side, new presidential candidate who is currently running, Robert F. Kennedy, is bullish on Bitcoin. He states that it is a form of democracy and freedom. Ironically, I actually went to go see him prior to him speaking at the Bitcoin conference at a private event, and really solid things. Most of my friends who are within the industry really like his message. I do think that he's a pretty solid guy. He has a pretty solid message. And maybe we can get someone else in office that may have some more optimistic views about what's happening and can steer this in a way that hasn't been steered for the past few months, because it looks like it's just been, like you said, attack after attack after attack, versus not recognizing that there is real citizens, taxpayers, homemakers who are utilizing this stuff to make a living and, do different things because, we're human and we all can't just do the same thing. We're not cookies, right? Like we're not cookie cutters, and it's just not right. There's lots of industries out there, and this is just like any other industry. And hopefully, if Robert Kennedy Jr. ends up getting elected into office, maybe we can have some different perspectives being thrown in, and maybe we can get clarity much sooner. Because I think that every company across the board that's like operating within the US, all they're asking for right now is clarity. All they want is laws put in place to not only protect themselves, but avoid things like lawsuits and wasting money on trivial things. Like a lot of these lawsuits are being put in place to just squish the shareholders or people who are invested in the company that's already there. And it's like why? It's weird. But let's see what happens there.
So for some reason, when listening to Robert Kennedy, his voice is just like, it's so, you know what I mean?
That's the number one complaint that I keep hearing about him. Nice guy, but his voice.
It doesn't sound confident. You know what I mean? Like, how usually the presidents, like they're easily, like they just have that confident tone to them. Like usually there's a lot of people that imitate presidents because they have such, the voices that are really appealing and like confident and either or funny, or like, in Trump's case, it was just a funny voice overall. But like, I don't know, Kenny, I don't know. I don't know if he has that it factor. You know what I mean? I feel like that voice, that confidence, that charisma, the character is part of that it factor. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's definitely been the number one. Well, I mean, his overall standpoints and like what he represents is great.
Oh, 100%.
Unfortunately, people, when they're choosing, whether it's a celebrity or someone to put in office, these are factors that they definitely categorize and make fun of because his voice is a bit hoarse. It does sound like he's dying.
Right.
Even though he's a very strong man. If you see this man in person, he looks like he works out. Yeah. His forearms are huge, like this big. And they're like he himself is in very good shape. I don't know what happened to his voice, I can tell you. But that is an unfortunate truth. That's all I gotta say about that. Oh, well. So on to our good friend SBF. So SBF is currently getting sued by FTX. I've seen two figures. I've seen 220 million, in addition to a couple other million that adds it up to 250 million. Pretty much what happened there is a few months before FTX declared bankruptcy, there was a deal that was made between FTX Group and I think it's embedded to basically push out and allocate money towards this group of people who are like raising money. And that deal went through prior to bankruptcy, even though it was initiated months before. And pretty much they're like, hey, we want that money back. So SBF is currently getting sued. I don't really know if he has all that much money, to be honest. I feel like he just lost it all. Maybe it's hiding somewhere.
He
I
actually,
know he has properties that he needs to sell off.
So he actually,
it's probably hiding properties.
He actually just OpenAI, that they have that WorldCoin or whatever. So he was actually in the seed round of investors for that coin. So they just raised $100 million. SBF was in the seed round, so he definitely has money.
Oh, so this was recently. He's still investing recently? What is he doing? What is this guy doing?
Oh, wow. He does not give up. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's no good. Yeah, they gotta. I think this amount of money is. Does he have millions? Probably. Does he have hundreds of millions? This is the question, and this is what's in question. I think that maybe did he sell all his properties in the Bahamas, or are they still?
That I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because obviously his money's definitely tied up in properties. I know they were the big one was on the market, but whether the sale was finalized, that's unsure. I haven't checked back, but he also had a smaller condo on Cable One Beach that was worth a couple million. So that's another one that's in question. And then outside of that, I don't know how much property this guy has, but his money definitely was tied up in a few properties. But yeah, I don't know how that guy is still out of jail. I thought he was banned from like using the internet. How did he manage to go in on this round? This is crazy.
I don't know. I can't even answer that. I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll watch that story closely.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was speaking about Tornado Cash earlier, and Tornado Cash has lost a little bit of limelight because of obviously the sanctions that have been placed against it and the restrictions that have been placed against it, even though it was a very, very, very predominant protocol at one point in time. Recently, the DAO was still in place and it was still in order and it was still working, except somebody submitted a malicious proposal to Tornado Cash and it was approved with malicious code, which gave them majority rule of the DAO. And although tokens that were still floating outside of the DAO are still okay, anything that was staked inside the DAO was basically seized and dumped by the hacker. And that is the end of the Tornado Cash DAO. So if it wasn't dying before, it's definitely dying now.
Yep.
Just needed to put that out there. Tether also is looking to allocate up to 15% of its profits towards purchasing Bitcoin, which I think is a great call, taking advantage of the markets. And I mean, that's their prerogative, right? If they have profits, they could do whatever they want with their profits, but that's cool. And then Pakistan is set to ban crypto, unfortunately. I guess they do not like whatever is going on with crypto, which is interesting because a lot of those countries in the Middle East, they have really cheap electricity, and some of the miners that become less efficient over time end up getting shipped over there and used. Even if they mine, gain little bits of money a day because, it's basically free money because the electricity is basically free. So thought that was interesting. I guess Pakistan is one of those places where I guess even women are still like suppressed there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's one of those places where if something doesn't agree with the ideologies of the government, like it's just gonna get banned, which I mean, Islamic finance is on the rise, and that's obviously like a Muslim region. However, I think all the meme coinery has probably has outshined everything else. I think that's what's happening in this region specifically, because these are regions where I don't want to call them gangs, but the rebellious groups that end up like overthrowing the government and all that, they enforce their ideologies, and this is what ends up happening, unfortunately. So no surprise there. I'm not surprised it wasn't banned already. But yeah, here we are. Another day in crypto. Another day in the meme coinery.
All right, I think that covers the news, right?
Yeah, pretty much. There wasn't anything that was like nuts.
Yeah.
I think it's because everyone was at Bitcoin Miami, so like maybe they were like, honestly, there was probably like feds like snooping the people out, like who bought tickets and stuff, trying to see what was going on, trying to get the intel, I'm sure. But yeah, we'll see what comes out over the next few weeks, because I'm sure things are going to start picking up again. We are, 2024 is the election year?
Yep. We're 1 year
out. So I mean, we're halfway through 2023. People are doing their campaigns. The primaries are coming soon, and all in between. So things are going to definitely start ramping up, and maybe, just maybe, they will start ramping down, because obviously you need to gain favoritism for the people who are voting for you.
Right.
And it's either you steadfast hard on what you've been doing, or you have to kind of like soften up and like figure it out. But there is no in between. So we'll see what happens over the next few months.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. All right, so let's jump into a market analysis here on what's going on, what I'm watching this week, and how I'm gonna look to play. So let's start off by looking at a couple different scenarios here. So I want to start with some bullish scenarios first. Right now, the bullish scenarios that we currently have. Let's see. Let's go over to. I set the different things up on different charts, so I just kind of gotta go through them here. All right, so I found one of them. So this is one of the bullish scenarios right now. If we look at the weekly chart, we'll see that we still have this inverse head and shoulders in play, right? So this pattern here is still valid, where we had the inverse head and shoulders. We had a clean and clear breakout where we hit this resistance up here, and now it's looking like we might be retesting that neckline. Now, if that were to happen, that means that we have more downside to go, because that would be at around $24,000 to $25,000. Okay, so that's the first thing there, right? We have that inverse, and the target for this inverse head and shoulders is up here at about $36,000. All right, so I'm still expecting this to play out. But remember, this is on the weekly time frame, so this is not going to play out overnight. This breakout, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 weeks since the original breakout, right? So as you can see, it's not something that plays out overnight. We broke out, we set up new highs here since the fall, right? And now we're pulling back a bit, and I'm expecting this eventually to head back up. Now, another bullish scenario here, if you see this moving average here, this is actually the 200-week moving average. And if we kind of zoom out a bit here, let's zoom out and just kind of focus on that moving average. And this chart, it looks like it doesn't go back far enough. I think this chart does, yeah. So ignore all the blue lines. That's something else that I was looking at. Let me see. Let me find a different one, because that is kind of annoying. Here you go. So let me just get rid of this. If we look all the way back, and I actually drew this out on this chart, so perfect chart. The blue line is a 200-week moving average, and you'll see that back in 2014, during that bear market, the price held at that support of the 200-week moving average, kind of rode it for a while, and then once again in 2015, we retested it here, and then that's when we broke out into the 2017-18 all-time highs. Then when we dropped back down in another bear market in 2018, you can see once again, look at where the price went. It went to the 200-week moving average, and then it went into its next move up. But and then when we retested down, this was actually during COVID in 2020. Look at where the price went to, 200-week moving average. Boom, we went on the next bull rally, hit new all-time highs, dropped down, and this time we actually dropped below the 200-week moving average for the first time. And when we broke below it, we came back up, retested it, and then continued to the downside, right? So the reason I mention that is because now we broke back above it, and now we've retraced, we've pulled back to the 200-week moving average, and we're currently retesting it right now. So this could be very similar to what we saw over here after we broke below it, right? We broke below it, we went back up, retested it, and then continued down. We continued the trend, right? We continued this trend. So could we be seeing something similar now to the opposite side? As you guys can see, the trend has changed, right? We bottomed out right here, set up a new higher high, new higher low, and another higher high, another higher low. So this would be another, this would keep the same structure intact, right? And this would be that retest of the 200-week moving average before we continue on this trend to the upside here. So that's another thing that we're watching here as far as a bullish scenario. Another one more thing on the same chart is what we just spoke about. We have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So we're expecting to see another higher high up here somewhere, right? So that's the other thing that we're watching right now. So those are all the bullish case scenarios. Now there are of course bearish case scenarios as well. If we go to the daily chart, the first thing that we can see here is on the RSI, right? If we kind of draw a line, with how the RSI has been going, right? It's been setting up lower lows. If we during that same time frame, if we look at the price, and we've talked about this before, it's going up. So RSI momentum going down, price going up, that's a bearish divergence. So usually when there's a bearish divergence in the market, it needs to be corrected, and that could either be with a pullback or with just consolidation for a extended period of time. And I think we've kind of seen a little bit of both. We've seen consolidation here for a pretty extended period of time, and we have seen a pullback at the same time. So we've been in this range since March. So pretty much 2 months at this point in this exact range. We've also seen a pullback here as well. So, we can potentially either continue on this consolidation or we can pull back further, right? So that's the first bearish scenario. The next one is if we stay on the daily time frame here. Let's move this out of the way. We'll see that on the daily time frame, once again, we have boom, boom, boom. And what is this? This is left shoulder. This is a head. This is a right shoulder. So that gives us a head and shoulders, right? Now, if this was a head and shoulders, that would put this right here pretty much around the neckline, meaning that we're at the breakdown point of that. And if we were to break down, then we're looking for our target. Target would pretty much be from the neckline to the top of this, to the top of the head, right? If we place it at the neckline where the breakdown would happen, that would give us a target of about $23,000. And if we look for some confluence in the same range, we can see that we've had some resistance there before. Looking back here, it's also acted as resistance. We can see here more resistance. So it's clear that between $24,000 to pretty much $24,000, there's a lot of points of interest in that range, which would be a little bit of confluence with a drop down to those prices. So another thing to note though, this is on a smaller time frame, so this can happen faster. But the weekly time frame is usually more accurate than a daily time frame. So that's something to keep in mind. And on the weekly, we have an inverse head and shoulders. So, but remember when we just looked at the inverse head and shoulders, we saw that there could be a pullback to the neckline to a further retest, which would put basically it would mean that the daily head and shoulders will play out, because this is pretty much the same level. A retest of this inverse head and shoulders breakout would be at 24,000, and as we just saw on the daily time frame, if we break down on that daily head and shoulders, the target would pretty much be around the same price, $24,000. So something to keep an eye on, something that we're watching there. Now, as far as what we're going to be, how we're going to be playing this week, what we're going to be looking for, if we're looking to take any trades this week, we're going to try to keep it as simple as possible. Remember, trading is already complicated enough. No reason to overcomplicate it, right? So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible here. We're gonna draw our main resistance and our main zone. So the green boxes are supports, red box resistance. You can see that we're pretty much at the tip of this green box. So we're at the tip where we can fall here and drop down to this next level, right? This next box is sitting around basically $25,000 to $24,000. That's the next big area of support. So in the downside, if we saw a downside, that's the way it's gonna go. Now I'm probably not playing any things to this side because we're at a support right now, and because we're at a support, the play is going to be, if I'm looking to enter anything, it's probably going to be to the upside. I don't want to get into something like this one here where it's a fake out to the downside and then it just jumps right back up. So for now, I'm probably staying out of any short positions where there's a lot of support in the area. We have the 200-week moving average. So there is a lot of support there. I don't want to jump into a short position here. So, but if we were to fall down here to the 25K range, then I might start looking for a potential short, maybe below 25 or below 24. So I'd have to reevaluate at that point if we saw a drop down. Now to the upside, we do have some possible upside here as we are sitting on this strong support here. I would, if I want to enter, I probably want to look to enter on the 200-week moving average or as close to it as possible, which currently sits around $26,300. So if we get a pullback to around 26,300, then I might be looking for a long entry at that point, and try to ride that up. I'll probably hold that more as a scalp, because I'd be looking to take profits probably around $27,000, my first area to take profit. After that, I'd probably be looking on the top of this range where we've been kind of stuck. So that's probably going to be before 27,500. If you want to hold for a bigger move up, you can, but I'm probably taking profits at 27,000. I'm leaving runners up. And if I see that prices once again not going above to set up a new high, then I'm probably closing out the rest of my position. But that's pretty much the only thing I'm really looking for this week. If we break above these highs, that's another potential long. That'll be basically a break above 27,600. Or if you want to just kind of keep it a little bit cleaner, a break above $28,000. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I'm watching for this week. Those are the levels that I'll be looking to play. Not really looking for anything to the downside right now, just because there's not too much room down, and I don't want to be in a fake out like we saw here. So I'll only look for downside if price pushes up higher, maybe closer to $28,000. If I see that price is failing there, and there's low volume, then I might be looking for a short at that point. But at these prices, I'm not currently looking for any short setups right now. I think that's pretty much it. I think that's the main things I'm looking for. As always with altcoins, altcoins are going to follow whatever Bitcoin does. You can see the same, very, very similar setups here in Ethereum. It's currently at a support, to previous support. If we lose this level, then we could drop down to maybe like the $1,600 range, maybe with a low of around $1,500. So that's currently what I'm watching here. That's what I'll be playing this week. And now we're going to do some Q&As. So if you guys have any questions that you want either myself or the Bitcoin Queen to answer, it could be anything that we've covered in today's video, anything going on in the news, or maybe you just want to know Bitcoin Queen's favorite color. Just drop it in the comments, and we'll go ahead and answer it. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes here. If not, we'll wrap things up. We're approaching the 1 hour mark, so we try to keep these under an hour for the most part. Let me see. Let me look through the comments here.
What we here? I saw somebody ask you earlier if you were still into stepping.
Yeah, I saw it. So I did answer him in the comments. That was Tengvang. He was asking me about stepping. And yeah, like I no longer am using stepping. I do still have shoes, and every now and then when I walk somewhere, if I remember, I might turn it on just for fun. But it's not something that I'm like actively doing. I did, it's almost a year now since the whole thing with Steppen happened, but yeah, they kind of took the project in a direction that I didn't like. I tried to address it with the team. Team ignored me, so I made a post about it on Twitter. Then the team finally acknowledged me, and they're actually very, very, how can I put it? They're pretty disrespectful, I would say. Yeah, they're pretty disrespectful, and they tried to get me to take down my tweets, and they only wanted me to spread the messages that they wanted to spread, and they wanted...
No, that's not how this works.
Right, they wanted me to spread their narrative, and I said no, I refused. So we went in separate directions, and I walked away from the project, and I stopped covering it altogether. So that's kind of the gist of what happened with Steppen. And if you look at Steppen's coin, and if you look at it from the time that I left in, let's see, when was it I left? I left like some point in July of last year. Where are we? We're in the daily. If we look at, we have to go to the weekly here. If we look at July, yeah, so it's already actually set up for from when I left here. If you look at July, when I left till now, they're down 72%. The project's down 72% from that point. On their what's supposed to be their main coin, GMT. Oh, you guys are...
That's unfortunate.
So yeah,
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I left in July. Their coin's down 72% ever since then, and you can see in GST, their other coin, it's down also 58% since I walked away from it. And I saw that this trend coming, and I tried to help the team. But they knew better than everyone else, I guess, and they didn't want to take suggestions or ideas from the community or from small players like myself, I guess. So we went in different directions. Pretty much is what happened with that. Let's see, what's going on, Rivers? How you doing? Ducky Dave. Oh, 100 deaths. What's going on, man? How you doing? Good to see you in here. Haven't seen you in a while. Ducky Dave 92 said, "What are your opinions on the recent meme coin craze?" So, we've talked about it a few times. With meme coins, there is opportunity to make money. You just got to be in there at the right time, right? So with meme coins, you got to be in early. If you're not in early, you have to try to catch a pullback, and catching a pullback can be tricky with meme coins, since a lot of it is not based on technicals, it's not based on fundamentals, it's not based on utility, right? So meme coins are 100% driven by community. So because of that, it can go up for no reason at all, the same way it can drop for no reason at all. So you have to, keep up to date with the community, what's going on in the community, what's going on with the overall of that, right? Two, you gotta see who the whales are. Who are the big players that are making lots of profits or that hold a lot of the coin, right? And there's different ways that you can follow those people. I've done a couple videos on how you can follow whales, including I did a video where there was there was 3 whales that made millions in Shiba Inu and then made millions in Bybit. And I basically put their addresses up and showed how you can kind of watch what they're doing, what they're buying, what they're selling. And then maybe that can give you an edge on what the smart money is doing, right? Because if they caught 2 different meme coins and made millions off of it, then obviously they might know something we don't know, right? But at the end of the day, it's I think meme coins is more of a gamble more than anything else. It's a game of musical chairs. You want to make sure that you have a chair when the music stops. So that's the thing. You know, if you're investing anything into meme coins, make sure that it's an amount of money that you're okay with losing. If you can't risk losing that 100%, I would say do not invest in meme coins. If you don't mind putting a very, very, very small fraction of your portfolio in meme coins just to try to see if you hit one, you get lucky, is like buying a lottery ticket, right? So you know you don't mind. Most people don't mind paying $10, $20 for a lottery ticket. But you know, don't start throwing in thousands of dollars into it if that's a large chunk of your portfolio, or if that's all your portfolio is, right? You don't want your portfolio to be completely made up of meme coins. You want to have a foundation made up of like the blue chips in crypto, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then on top of that, you want to have some more, you know, safe projects with higher upside. And then after that, at the end, you know, is the meme coins. Meme coins are like the luxury, right? Luxury items. So that's kind of how I would say if you want to play meme coins, that you can play it. Bitcoin Queen, what are your thoughts on that?
The meme coins, yeah, it's definitely something that you play around with. Honestly, Pepe was a pretty lucky shot. After that, like it's kind of like a hit or miss. The first one is always going to be the best, and anything that comes after that can be risky because like you just don't know. By that point in time, there's a lot of people just like deploying anything and everything. And even influencers, they rug people all the time. We've seen that actually a lot in this past meme coin craze. It's gonna fizzle out eventually. Probably give it like a month or two. I mean, people are already starting to take profits on their Pepe even, and it's starting to dump the market a bit. So it's one of those things where if you can catch it early, great. When Bitcoin actually runs, some of the stuff is going to be pulled up anyways. So if people are so very, very bullish on Pepe and Bitcoin runs, and that also starts running a bit because it's getting pulled up, you know, maybe play with it. But like other than that, I don't really like getting into all that stuff. It gets problematic. I like the idea of doing some of this stuff like wholesomely, right? Like a lot of this stuff is scammy, and that is what it is.
Yeah, and for every successful Pepe coin, there's thousands probably of meme coins that failed. So
thousands, literally thousands.
I know I saw this thread on Twitter where there was they basically found a wallet that creates 2 to 3 meme coins a day. So and the majority are failures, right? So just got to be careful.
Pretty much.
All right, so the last question, we got 5 more minutes here. Are you using Ledger after the latest news? So I don't know if you have a Ledger. If you do, are you using it still after what happened with Ledger?
I was in conversation with someone last night, actually looking for alternatives. There's a lot of good like Bitcoin alternatives for some of this stuff. I don't really have good experiences with Trezor, honestly, so I try to stay away from it, to be completely honest. With Ledger, I think the scare overall is a little more problematic than it actually is in reality. But the fact that it can be done, like it can exist, I think that's what's really like piss people off. Yeah, I think the other good alternative that I've seen that's like reasonable if you want a device that is multi-coin and cross-chain in theory is to have a dedicated like device, like a laptop or even a phone that doesn't do anything else but accept and send out crypto. I like the idea of it being hooked up to a router that does not directly connect to your modem. So like anything that goes on the router like erases and it doesn't go to your modem, and the router can also have a built-in VPN. So it kind of like gives you a couple layers of protection. But that's a reasonable alternative, because there's a lot of things where on Bitcoin it exists where you can randomly generate your keys, and there's actually better wallets than for things like Ethereum and stuff like that on Bitcoin. But if you want something that's like a ledger that's like cross-platform and stuff like that, then it's a little tough to replace. That's the best alternative I've seen,
Right.
to be honest. Any of the other wallets, I don't really like them. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So yeah, what about you, Jay?
Yeah, same. I still have on there, but I think the best thing that I can say is, even if you're using cold wallets like Ledger, is still don't have all your funds on one spot. So I think that's the biggest key here.
My problem with most of those wallets is that any way you look at it, somebody still generated those keys.
Right.
The only wallets that I like, which mostly exist on Bitcoin, that you can generate your own keys, just accept Bitcoin. Other than that, if you want to generate your own keys, then you pretty much have to sign up for a hot wallet. And if you want to sign up for a hot wallet, then you need to have it on a dedicated device that you don't use for anything else, away from the internet most periods of time, and probably away from directly connecting to your modem. Like those are probably the better ways if you do want to be more secretive. But yeah, the idea of your keys being generated by someone else, like, that's always going to be in question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so any of the wallets that you buy pretty much today, they work that way. Ballet wallet, somebody's printing those keys, Ledger, even Trezor, all those wallets. Very, very few exist where they don't print your keys, and both of them, I think, are on Bitcoin.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the biggest thing I could say is don't keep all your crypto in one wallet. I think is the biggest takeaway, and I think is the safest play, because if one of them, something happens to one of them, at least all your crypto's not in there. So that would probably be my best recommendation for that, and that's something I've been practicing probably for the past 2 or 3 years. So
yeah, unfortunately, if you actually want a custody service, you might as well go with like Keys de Casa or something. Obviously, Ledger did this as a play to expand their revenue and subscription, based models and stuff like that. But it definitely, I guess, starstruck some people with the realization that they can, in fact, just have your keys if they just did a firmware update,
right,
and they can access them and in theory steal your funds. But not that they would. However, we didn't talk about this in the news, but did you see that MetaMask said that if the government wanted to withhold taxes, they would comply if they can get your wallet tracked down? Did you see that?
Wow, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I actually, this is what I'm saying. Like, the stuff that's actually like hot that like should be spoken about, like, it's getting like covered and like buried. Yeah, that I saw like yesterday. So like MetaMask, if the government's like, hey, this person owes us money, and they can track you down, and they like because they collect IP addresses, right?
Right.
So anytime you use your MetaMask, they can tell who you are based off your IP address, and they can, do as they please, pretty much.
That's wild.
Yeah, that is wild. So be careful, guys. Pay your taxes.
All right, guys. So it's 2:00. So we've now been live for over an hour. We're going to wrap things up here. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you guys for those who sent in questions, and everyone who stayed to the end. I appreciate you guys. We're going to be live again next Monday. We do this every single Monday, kind of try to just kind of an overview of the entire market, the price, the news, and analysis. So, and then we do live Q&A at the end, as always. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any final words, Queen?
No, I think we're good. See you guys next time, and send us your questions in advance, because we definitely can collect questions throughout the week if you guys have any. I know, Jay, sometimes you put them in your Instagram stories, but yeah, so feel free to ask us questions, guys. But cheers, take care.
Awesome. See you guys on the next one. As always, peace and love.